Hi guys, I'm Steve Heisel. I'm here to talk to you about the need for emphasis on the stalker phase of production. Today we're going to answer two questions. First, why do we need to have an increased focus on the stalker phase of production? And second, what are the effects of increased time in the stalker phase of production on cattle quality and cattle performance? Reasons for a forage-based ag. First reason being economics. Right now we have the highest corn prices we've ever had before. What this does is it has a negative effect on feedlots. Feedlots use corn to base their ration price on, because that's what their basis of the ration is corn. So it's really hard for feedlots to make any money. Second, we need to utilize these ruminant animals to cut down on feedlot costs. Ruminant animals are the only animal that can use forage to put pounds on. Third thing we'll talk about is the stalker phase of production, what it is and its role in the industry. Fourth thing we'll talk about is how these cattle coming out of stalker phases have equal performance compared to cattle that go straight into the feed yard. We'll also talk about that there's no change in quality in the meat of these animals that have gone through stalker phase and into the feed yard and then the slaughter. Economics. Right now we have the lowest cattle number since 1952. What this has done is caused a huge increase in demand. Right now we have more export markets than we ever have before. It's crazy what we're doing, but we're producing more beef than we ever have with the least amount of numbers. We're exporting billions of pounds of beef right now to foreign countries. The increased demand, I feel like it's going to stay high because right now international markets are good and people are going to continue to buy our product if we keep creating a high quality beef product like we are. As you can see, the cost reflects what's going on up here. Fed steers, which are your steers that are coming out of the feed yard, are going for 120, 100 weight. Feeder steers at 150, 100 weight, and steer calves are around 195, 100 weight. These all came from the Chicago Board of Trade. There's most economic people or economists that you talk to say cattle markets will remain high. This is because people are not replenishing their cow herd numbers. Right now, people can get more money per pound at the sale barn than they ever had before. So people that are kind of borderline about some heifers they're thinking about keeping, they're going ahead and selling them because they can make more money there than holding on to those animals and breeding them. Another thing that's causing this is cull cow markets. The cull cow market is extremely high right now, so people are not holding on to their cattle that come up open after breeding season. They're not going to try to hold them over the next year and try to rebreed because it just doesn't make sense. They can get more money at the sale barn. As you can see here with the grain prices, corn being here, soybean, wheat, barley, and oats being on the bottom in the green there. Corn prices are extremely high. This graph here shows over a 30-year period. As you can see here, corn shot up when ethanol started. Now that ethanol production has kind of leveled off and people are used to it, you see this level line here. That's projected to stay that way until about 2018. Past that, we don't know. But right now, the demand for corn is high. So the demand for other grains is increased as well. A lot of these grains are what we use to make our feedlot rations, and as you can see, it's extremely hard to afford these products to formulate our rations in the feed yards. This kind of shows a 30-year feedlot profit graph. As you can see, early on when we were trying to start kind of working with corn and making our rations off that, feedlot profit shot through the roof because we were able to make high energy rations that were putting pounds on cattle in a hurry, and we could get them go ahead and send them to slaughter plants and get them killed. But after ethanol came along, we see this huge drop in our numbers. This middle line is the average. Look how far below zero we are right now. We're $10 below the average per head, which is not a good thing. This is really detrimental to feed yards in America right now. The answer to all these problems, ruminant animals. Beef production will outlast chicken and pork production because we can use these animals, we can kick them out on forage and put pretty good gains on them. Cattle can use forages that are high in crude protein, such as your wheat pasture, your Bermuda pasture, and your ryegrass pastures, along with other forages. I just kind of put the top three up here. Any forage that's above 12% crude protein or higher can put 2 to 3 pounds per day on these animals coming off the cow before we send them to the feed yard. We need to use this ability to our advantage. It helps to cut down on the cost of putting pounds on these animals because forage is readily available and it brings itself back. Stalker industry. Stalker industry is post-weaning growing programs that produce commercial feeder cattle suitable for finishing. What the stalker industry does is it increases weight of animals going into the feed yard. Instead of calves coming off the cow weighing 400 to 500 pounds, we kick them into a stalker program, put another 200-300 pounds on them. They're going to the feed yard at 800 to 900 pounds. Another thing it gives you is it gives you time to straighten these cattle out. Less health issues in the feed yard. If we buy a bunch of mismanaged cattle for the right price at a sale barn, take them, kick them out on grass, straighten them out, get them healthy, get them ready to go in the yard. They're going to bring more money to you as a stalker producer, and the feed yard's going to get more money out of them because they're going to have less medical costs. Another thing that the stalker industry does is it creates uniformity in cattle. Feed yards love a uniform pit of cattle because they calculate their average daily gains and feedlot performance on a per pin basis, not on a per cow basis. So if you can get a set of cattle even going into the feed yard, put them in the same pen, it'll show up better on what they track and stuff and results and performance. Cost of gain is less in a stalker versus a feed yard. Like I said earlier, we can use forages that Mother Nature produces, kick those animals out, get good gains, and it's going to be less than what we have to do to compile feedlot rations that are corn-based, which is extremely hard to do right now. These animals are going to show better performance in the feed yard as well. They're going to have higher average daily gains, and they're going to kind of have a more leaner carcass coming in. I'll talk more about this later on in my presentation. Growth curves. Alright, as you can see here, as animals get closer to maturity, their muscle growth levels off, and their fat growth becomes exponential. The reason that I brought this up is because if we can take these animals, grow them on a high protein feed, such as wheat pasture, Bermuda pasture, ryegrass pasture, get them 2 to 3 pounds a day, put 200, 300 pounds on them after they come off the cow, we can get this and we can play this curve. We can get cattle coming up to here where their muscle growth is almost done, and then kick them on a high concentrate, high energy diet, and put the fat on them to level them out and get their carcasses a little more quality, a little higher yield grade, get them to marble better. If we can use the natural growth curve for these animals to our advantage, put that muscle on them with that high forage or high crude protein forage, use that to our advantage, and then kick them in the feed yard and use their high concentrate energy feeds to put fat on them. As you can see here, a little marbling versus back fat. You have back fat over here, and marbling scores over here. This linear line is your back fat, exponential line is marbling. As cattle gain weight from 600 to 900 pounds, we see marbling starting to increase. Back fat is always going to be increasing. We're always putting back fat on. What we could do is we take these animals, get them to 800, 900 pounds on forage, and then kick them on a high energy diet and use this growth curve here as well to marble steaks, marble cattle a little bit better and a little bit cheaper. Feedlot performance of animals coming out of stalker phase. Feedlot managers love to get stalker cattle because they know these animals are straightened out, like I said before. They're higher quality cattle. These cattle are ready to gain, they're completely growed up, their rumen is completely developed and ready to be used on the high concentrate diets, and they can utilize those diets a lot better and show better average daily gains and grain to feed ratios than animals that come straight off the cow into the feed yard. Then another point we talk about is less cost in feed. If we can use our forages, gain weight on those animals, then put them into the feed yard, we're not going to have to put as much feed into them in the feed yard. So this helps cut down the feedlot costs because they don't have to put necessarily as much weight on these animals. Right now, we're seeing a 20% of consumers preferring grass-fed beef. This is really not what I'm trying to talk about, but I feel like it could kind of be a niche market someday with stalker production. There's an increased demand right now because people are looking for more leaner carcasses, more healthier carcasses to say. So, just a little FYI, but forage-based finishing will never replace feed yard finishing because of that product and our international markets that we can get. If we can decrease that time in the feedlot phase and increase time in the stalker phase, we can cut down on days on feed. We can have a concentrate diet for 60 days versus what it is now for 120 days. And America is leaning towards a more leaner product. People want something that's not fatty, covered in saturated fats. They want a more leaner, healthier meat product on the counter. A couple ideas to think about. If we could figure out a way to start these cattle on forage and grain at the same time, get the cattle grown a little bit, and then towards the end of the stocker phase, we go ahead and start feeding them a more concentrated diet. That high protein and energy is going to show rapid gains in these cattle, and they're going to do extremely well. And it also helps prepare them for feedlot. We go ahead and kind of start get the rumen developed to concentrate ration. These animals will do better, and there'll be less acidosis and bloats problems coming in the feed yard. We'll also see some leaner carcasses because we're focusing longer on the stocker phase. They're not developing fat nearly as fast. Another idea, we could use less forage being harvested for hay. Why don't we cut back on some of the hay we're baling, kick cattle out on that, grow them, get them ready for the feed yard. So I thank you guys for your time, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Here's a few records.